My name is Jen, and I am on a journey in order to break free from the destructive patterns of disordered eating and in order to embrace a nourishing lifestyle. My roadmap can be described using an acronym of the word Nourisher. So I'm doing daily video blog posts in order to encourage you, equip you, and keep you up to date on my progress. If this content is helpful or encouraging to you, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and sharing with others. It is my deep desire that these videos would help to ignite nourishing transformations in us all. Hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining me for day 36 of my Nourisher Check-ins. Day 36, we've been doing this together a long time, and it is so good. I've been hearing some of your stories lately, and I'm just so inspired and encouraged by you. So thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey. So noticing my emotions. So there are some predictable things that come as a part of the healing journey in eating disorder recovery. And as we've discovered, for example, sleep disturbances is a very typical thing to experience that many of us have and are experiencing. Also, there's a whole bunch of things related to food, but what we're really realizing, and what I'm a model of, is how intense the emotional experience can be as you go through a healing journey, as you move from coping with the intense inner emotions by whatever the disordered behavior is. For me, binge eating or restricting or body image obsession or exercise obsession or whatever it is that you happen to be dealing with, or that your loved one may be dealing with, as we move away from that intense focus and actually really allow ourselves to tune into our bodies, our heart, our spirits, to know what's actually happening inside, that can be an incredibly overwhelming experience. And what I'm noticing maybe the last couple of days is how the lows can feel so low, but the highs can also feel so high. My husband came in the room the other day and I was smiling, and he's like, "Why are you smiling? Like, what are you so happy about?" And just really noticing, feeling a little bit manic, a little bit scared, but really noticing that things are, I feel like there's like an emotional highlighter that gets put on everything, that I'm feeling things more intensely. So I wonder if you share that experience or not. Maybe it's just where I'm at in the journey. But that's what I'm noticing in terms of my emotions today. And reaching out to others, I've been thinking a lot about this. And I think that I've expressed that I am so convinced that relationships are so key, and that community is so key in our healing journey. And that's why I started these videos, was in order to kind of bring what's typically in the dark, this struggle and just this whole eating disorder that's always hidden, and bringing it into the light, to shine a light on community and for us to be able to journey together. So I've just been reading some things recently that have just so solidly maybe are affirming this to me, of how important it is. So there's so many different things that we can do in recovery, or maybe there's different people who have different approaches to recovery. And there's one approach that just says you just have to, the reason that you're struggling is because you have a lack of knowledge. You don't understand. You need to change the way that the things that you know. But I don't know about you, if you have an eating disorder, but the research seems to say that a lot of people that are dealing with patterns of disordered eating tend to be, highly intellectual and know a lot. We tend to, for me, I can binge just as much on information as I can on food. And when I'm in one of the biggest things that brings up self-loathing in me is that I know full well that what I am doing is destroying my body. I know it so well that it almost becomes tormented. It's like, there's a verse in the Bible where, Paul says, "I do the things that I don't want to do." Like it's not necessarily, I'm not saying that information isn't helpful, but it's not, that doesn't seem to be, to me, to be the crux of the problem. So then maybe it goes to the question of, well, do we need to develop more willpower or more self-control? Someone encouraged me lately, and they just said, "I'm so glad to see you, applying self-control to this area of your life." And for sure, I mean, there has been an incredible lack of self-control in these times, and I can see it like vanishing before my eyes as I engage in these destructive patterns. But can I develop or strengthen my muscle of self-control enough to be able to tackle this problem? So far, with years of attempts, I haven't been able to do that, and have ended up in a lot of shame over the lack of self-control, which could be valid, but so then you kind of come to, is it because I don't know enough, or I don't have enough self-control, or I don't have enough capacity. Like I'm just not a strong enough person. I'm not a good enough person. I'm not, et cetera, et cetera. And then of course you get into that same kind of spinning flywheel of how do I gain capacity? How do I gain maturity? How do I gain, strength in these areas when at the end of the day, I feel and my behaviors are showing that I'm so weak. And what I think that all of those different areas, and there could maybe be many more, are all incredibly important. But if any one of them is the focus, I have found that I just fall on my face over and over again and end up in greater heaps of shame and despair. And what I am becoming very convinced of is that the power of relationship is so great. And the power of healing relationship is so massive that it not necessarily overrides these other elements, but it's like it incorporates them, or it encapsulates them, or it fuels them in greater and greater degrees. So let me try to, maybe I'm just talking in circles, but let me read a couple of things to you that maybe articulate this idea a little bit more than I can articulate it. So Dr. Allan Shore, he works similarly in California as Dr. Daniel Siegel, who I've mentioned several times before. But he has this great, he's just talking about how as humans, from a neurological perspective, from an interconnected neurobiology, that idea that our neurobiology is impacted by our relationships and connections. He talks about the ways that we're formed through our attachments, through the people that our hearts are attached to, that we're emotionally connected with. And he says, who we love with attachment love has far more influence than the ideas that we think, than the choices that we will make, or the actions we take by power. Character and identity develop from knowing and loving another. And this just speaks to me so much about how all of those things, character, identity, the ability to have self-control, all of those things, how they are fueled by healthy relationship. And if we look at, let me read another one. This is from I'll put it below, but a great article called The Brain on Love that was written in the New York Times. But it says, the ills of safety, when your brain knows that you are with someone you can trust, it needn't waste precious resources coping with stressors or menace. Instead, it may spend its lifeblood learning new things or fine-tuning the process of healing. Its doors of perception swing wide open. The flip side is that, given how vulnerable one is, love lessons, sweet or villainous, can make a deep impression. Wedded hearts change everything, even the brain. And I hope what this is giving you is that impression that how healing can be unlocked in loving relationship, and how it can be stunted in stressful relationship. And so my prayer for you is that you would be able to cultivate, find, participate in loving, safe haven relationship. And for me, I'm wanting to definitely cultivate this on a skin level, in terms of people with skin on, like I like to say, but also I want to cultivate this to greater and greater degrees with God, and let Him cultivate that with me. so that's a big, I feel like with opening up to others, or with the healing priorities and all of this nourisher, we kind of anchor the nourisher in this idea of goals. And I also want to anchor the nourishing, all of these things, and recognizing that I really believe that the power of love, particularly for me, the power of God's love, to be able to set the stage and provide a healing environment is really critical. So that's a big focus for me. So the opening up to others, just been trying to cultivate those healthy healing relationships, and recognize the complexities that I bring into relationship as well. So anyway, sorry, big rabbit trail there. I wonder what, if any of that landed or sparked something in you, or made you think of something. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Please put in the comments. Would love to dialogue that a little bit more, because that can feel really, really, you can say, yeah, loving relationships is kind of this incubator in which we need to heal, but where do I find them? How do I cultivate them? How do I be a person that extends that to other people? These are big questions that is more than just reading a quote to answer, but I hope that gets us thinking a little bit more. Understanding the cycle. Yesterday, again, I think I had mentioned about that kind of I'm noticing a craving for snacky foods as opposed to a craving for real food. And so I'm just trying to combat that by actually feeding my body real food. I actually had for breakfast this morning, my body just wanted what I call crap. Just wanted things that weren't going to be helpful or healthy. So I had salad and leftover ribs, and yeah. So I'm drinking my hot water. I love hot water. Do you like hot water? I love hot water. Yeah. So again, just wanting to watch those cravings. What's it telling me in terms of fatigue, or what's going on there? So always mindful of the cycle. You are Rewire My Brain. Okay. So, I wonder if you've ever done art therapy. I am not an artist. Like, not at all. And when I started, my kids are unbelievable. And I would sit down to kind of color or draw with them, and I realized they would be like, "Oh, Mommy, you're so good." And of course, it's coming from, oh, there goes my computer. This is coming from the discernment of a 3-year-old. But I actually realized, I was like, hey, wait a second. When did I decide that I wasn't an artist? Like when, or that I couldn't create things? Can I get my computer restabilized? Oh, maybe I can't. This is when you're doing low production filming. Okay. You stable, you're going to fall. Okay. So anyway, moral of the story is that art therapy is really widely used in eating disorder recovery. And again, sorry, I'm reading everybody else's things, but the Walden Eating Disorder program seems amazing. But, for those of us on fixed income, may not be available to everybody. But the resources that they have online are amazing. So I'll put some. But they talk about art therapy and how, yes, art therapy can be used to actually help get out things that our words can't express, or that we haven't fully formulated in our brains yet, help us to interact in a very tangible way, help our brain kind of experience some of our process in a different way. But they also say that art therapy can also allow someone, art therapy might also allow someone to understand a person's perception or beliefs, allowing for self-understanding or support personal growth. So yes, it can do that. But here's the big thing for me. Art therapy simply may allow a place of safety and time for soothing. So a big part of my thing is that I get my soothing and my calm historically through food. So this is I need to find new ways to find that, and this has been one of them. So the finished product may visually not be pleasing, although the art and the process of making the art may be cathartic for the individual. And that is what I have found, is that the end result may not be whatever, but the process of it has been really enjoyable. One thing I love to do is paint on rocks. That's been very soothing for me. And recently my daughter and I'm going to show you what we did. So this is mine and this is my daughter's. And we did this where we just put blobs of paint down, acrylic paint, and then we got one of those big like dish brushes, and then we just scraped it all the way down and just watched the colors meld. And then we took the back end of a paintbrush and just went zoop all the way through to make the stem. And it was just so, I don't know, so physical, and I loved watching the colors blend and really soothing. So yeah, so in terms of rewiring the brain, that was really helpful. I thought I had another one here. Oh yeah, I did this one too. And this one was just with sponges and, you know, paintbrushes, and yeah, it was just one of these like acrylic painting ideas on YouTube. Found some video or something. If I can find it, I'll put it down below. But so therapeutic to paint and see colors and see them meld, and very soothing and calming again, which is really helpful for me. So that was my rewiring the brain. I highly recommend. Insulin friendly eating. Again, I mentioned that I had those ribs this morning, and I'm trying to listen to those cravings. Why am I craving such bingey, snacky kind of food right now? And feed it and nourish my body instead. The sleep. Last night I had a very disruptive sleep, so you may have noticed that my hands are quite bad. Maybe you can't see, but anyway, my eczema is quite bad. I think I know the food that is causing it, and it's a food that I really enjoy, so I'm having a little bit of a hard time cutting that out. Usually this is dairy, and this is also due to COVID, so much alcohol and dishes and that kind of thing. But typically if I get this bad, there's a food trigger. I think I know what it is, but anyway, I'm tipping things again. So yeah, so my sleep was disrupted because I'm waking up scratching my hands. So I need to do something about that. And hydration has been good, and I'm really enjoying my soothing warm water and my teas at home during the day. And exercise. So yesterday, typically I do my walks, as you may or may not know, in the morning. I often drag you along. But yesterday, all day yesterday, I was super busy, didn't get a really proper long walk in. And so I did a walk in the evening while my daughter was at a lesson. The walk itself was wonderful, and it was a really pretty evening, and that was really great. But exercises in the evening, I felt didn't feel helpful. It felt very difficult to wind down. I felt like, I was stirred and kind of amped up for the rest of the evening, like not in like a negative way, but just like an energetic way. Had a hard time calming. Wonder if, was my cortisol level up? I don't know. And then I got very hungry before I went to sleep because I had just exerted all of this energy. So definitely don't think that for me personally that it's a good idea to be exercising, vigorously in the evening. But I did really enjoy the walk. And reward. So the reward, I've told you that this week that I'm really just trying to focus on this idea that healthy brains are full of appreciation. And so my reward is to have a healthy brain that is full of appreciation, and that can walk into a room and instead of being critical about the things that it sees, or afraid or stressed or whatever, can notice things to appreciate, can be in relationship and can notice things. We do this thing called gift of words. Sorry, today I'm going on and on. But we do this thing called gift of words at birthdays. And I love to say to the person whose birthday it is, I really like such and such about you. And that is so great for us to be noticing, because the days leading up to the birthday, we're like thinking, oh yeah, what are all those things about that person? And then you start to notice them more and more because you're looking for them. So yesterday, my appreciation was while I was on this walk. I mentioned I live abroad. I do not live in Europe. And but I have this picture of where I was walking yesterday. It was like a European road where there was, to the right of me, there was almost like a moat with all these driveways that went over the moat, and it had recently rained. So the rain was like holding on, the rain droplets were holding on to, the metal fences, and just dripping ever so lightly, almost like they were like, like spider webs, and it was misty yet warm and beautiful. And every once in a while, like a really bright flower would kind of pop its color, and it just looked like something out of a painting, the kind of painting that I cannot do. And it was just to be in that moment and to enjoy it and to delight in it was, I just appreciated that so much. And the lushness of the greenery and the nature around was so beautiful. So I hope and desire to continue to cultivate a mind that is healthy and full of appreciation. So I've gone on and on today. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I am already looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye for now.